Welcome to what is another edition of Young Climber. We have returned with another inspirational story right here in the Kingdom of Eswatini. And on this episode, we are talking to an inspirational individual who bagged her degree in consumer sciences. Today, she joins us to unpack her story and, most importantly, tell us how she got to this point in her life. We welcome Dumie, who you have seen on social media as Cakes by Dumie or Miss Cakes, or maybe you have enjoyed the food that she provides right here in Manzini. Dumie, we'd like to officially welcome you to Young Climber. Thank you so much for making time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Firstly, you know the icebreaker question, the one where we're digging deep into your life.
Yeah.
We'd just like to know about your upbringing. Can you please just share details of your upbringing and, of course, lessons that were instilled in you, from your experiences, your family, and your surroundings?
I come from a big family. From a mom who's a teacher, and a father who was a businessman. Right? So both of them taught me different lessons. My dad, I think, contributed more towards me being a business person. And then my mom, wanting me to go to school.
Yeah.
Every parent wants the child to go to school, get an education, and then get a job.
Yeah.
So I think that helped me to go to school and acquire what I have as a degree. Then the dad part was like, no, but you still have to have
something
life skills, do business.
Yeah.
So I think that really did help me. And my sisters, my sister works at Eswatini TV, and then my other sisters have businesses as well. So I'm the third born. So the two sisters, one works at, and then another one is a business person. So I think that also really helped me to have courage to start a business.
Okay.
So, yeah.
But that is the business part. Backtracking to it, I think we're lucky enough in high school to have, or even in primary, it starts as low as primary, to have the home economics experience.
Yes.
Because I'm sure that's where lapho wabona khona ukuthi likhono lakho lisephekeni. What inspired you to pursue a degree in consumer science? Was it that? Did it start at a primary level, high school level, and then you were like, I want to focus on this?
I actually did consumer science really from primary, home economics. They now call it consumer science in high school, but it was still HE in high school still when we were doing high school. But now they call it consumer science. I liked it, did it, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I wanted to do something more like and the parents want that for us as well, They want us to be so applied for environmental health science, applied for something else, I don't remember what it is, got rejected in all these different things that I had applied for, only got admitted for consumer science. And I think now looking back, I feel like it was supposed to happen. It was a bigger picture, but I couldn't see it at the time. So now looking back, I'm like, it's actually, it worked out just right. So that's how I got to consumer science. But then it made sense when I was there, because everything came easy, because being very tons of consumer science.
The redirection was definitely a good one. It launched you for life.
Yes.
It definitely
Sometimes
did.
the biggest blessing is actually in the redirection, because then you don't really, we all don't know the future, but then once you just follow what it is that's flowing at the time, you eventually realize that, actually
it worked.
I needed to go through this path.
But then when did you realize, I know that consumer science entails a lot, also tailoring and stuff like that, but you leaned more towards the culinary part. And at the beginning stages of your now career, you started with baking, which is what you are known for mostly. When did you realize that baking is actually what I want to go for, instead of maybe the cooking part, which came in last year?
My mom bakes a lot, cooks a lot even. So, scones here and there, ekaya. And then being in Liengo, doing culinary arts, doing food service, doing food science, it grew the love for food in general. And then cakes were really something that I fell in love with outside all the other food aspects. And then I decided, you know what, why not do it? You know, why not do it as a business? But you start off by doing it for a friend.
Yeah, for a cousin.
Dumie, I saw you bake a cake the other day. And
Yeah.
then you're like, oh my God, yes, okay, no problem, I'll bake it. And then people like it. And then you decide, oh, well, okay, ngifake imali yama ingredients. And then eventually, and then eventually,
You're like,
no,
oh.
actually the cake is 500, you know, and then it starts being something of a business.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, you know, when you start out something, well, I could say for you, you had the experience, you had it all together, but there'll definitely be challenges somewhere, somehow. In your early days, you know, when you're starting, can we talk about some of the challenges that you faced in your early baking days and how they've now shaped your entrepreneurial journey, you know, making sure and remaining a perfectionist?
I think for me, it was as much as I studied food, but I didn't study how to make cakes in the way that they should be for birthdays. So for me, the biggest challenge was self-teaching. And when you self-teach, you obviously make mistakes. And when you make the mistakes, the client will suffer because of that mistake. So trying to get to a point where I am now, where I feel like, you know what, actually now I'm confident, now my work speaks for itself. It took time, and it took a lot of, you know, unhappy clients here and there, a lot of flops, a lot of starting again, losing money because that cake didn't come out the way you wanted it to, and then you have to start again. So those were those challenges, but then you get through them, you learn, you get to a point where you're like, okay, now I'm confident, now I can take any cake. Even if I haven't done it before, I can just go and find out how I can do it. So I think for me that has been the biggest challenge because I couldn't go to someone and learn. So I had to make mistakes along the way and then get to a point where I'm okay.
I like that one because, you know, later we talk about how now you are the teacher to other people. But now, let's just talk about this transformation or this transition from being cakes by Dumie at home, you know, baking for people, baking for birthdays. You're like, this is not enough. I want to transform myself. I want to transform my skill. In 2024, you made the decision to open up Miss Cakes Cafe. How long had that been running in your mind, firstly?
Long.
And can you just talk about the process of finally getting it, you know, doing it?
Long, very long. Very long, but also just as something that doesn't really seem attainable, you know, because then you look at things on the ground, you're like, yeah, it's a dream, but maybe it will stay a dream. You know? So it's something that has always been there, not in the scale though. It's always been something, maybe novula kwe-tuck shop anyana, kwesiphaza here and there, you know what I mean? Until recently when I felt like, actually, let me do it. Because it's been there, it's been something that I've been wanting to do. And it took a lot to get here, but eventually I decided to take the leap of faith and just do it.
And, you know, Dumie, this is your vision. But fortunately enough for you, you've now employed people and you're hoping that the people will carry your vision like clearly. How do you ensure that your employees carry this vision of yours and, you know, make the consumers experience Dumie?
It takes training. Training your staff. When you hire, you say you want people with experience. They do have experience, but not the experience that you want them to provide to your clients. They have skills, but then you fine-tune them to fit what it is that you want your customers to experience. For instance, my chef, I had to train her to provide the food in the way that I want,
Yeah.
in the aesthetic that I want,
Yeah.
in the appearance that I want. As much as she knows how to cook, she really does. But then it had to be me saying, so now this is how I want you to plate. This is how I want it to look on the plate. This is how I want the customer to experience it. Also the waitresses. Sometimes, yes, they have experience, but they
Yeah.
you know, they need a little bit of this to say, always smile, because people know me as a person that smiles a lot. So you want people to feel like smugelekile lana.
Yeah.
So you have to then train them and encourage them, because training someone on something that they're not familiar with, you need to always remind them, smile,
Yes.
you know. Then that allows the clients to feel welcome, to feel like they saw Dumie even when they didn't see Dumie. And when I'm around, I also take care of my clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know, with the culinary world, I feel like it's a very competitive space because there's Dumie, there's someone else, you know, anywhere in the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Yeah.
But what makes your space unique, and how do you ensure that you stay creative and innovative? Because okay, food is a taste, but you know, you need to stay on top of your game with what you offer.
Yeah. It helps to take feedback from clients. It really, really does, because you'll come up with something that makes sense in your mind, but then when you put it out there for a consumer to consume, and then they say, you could do this and this to make it better, we take that. It helps us a lot. It helps us to grow. It helps us to improve. It helps us to stay on our toes, because then if we relax, then we're not going to improve, we're not going to grow. So that really helps quite a lot.
I love that one, Dumie. We'll be taking a very short ad break. When we return, we talk about you being a teacher now. Now you are putting it out in the world for everyone, you know, to have that skill. But that is only when we return. Welcome back. If you just tuned in, you are tuned into Young Climber, and on today's episode we have Dumie Madonsela, who you might know as Cakes by Dumie. Maybe you were at a party and you were enjoying her cake, but you just don't know. We're talking about the culinary world, Dumie. You know, we spoke about cakes earlier on. Besides running your cafe now, you're teaching baking classes.
Yes.
What inspired you to share your skills with others? Because
well, takes me back to when I told you about how I work with young people that were unemployed. And that made me feel like I can share the skill. The pie is big enough for everyone. It really is. But I do remember how when I started, I got a bit of backlash from other bakers, feeling like I'm creating competition. But I just kept on saying, the pie is big enough for everyone, because literally almost every day is someone's birthday. Someone that's not in Manzini, someone that's not even your client, someone that can never even be your client. So then if you're teaching someone you're empowering that person to bake for people that are in Hlangano. It has nothing to do with you, a Manzini girl. So for me, teaching was inspired by me wanting to just help other people. And also just so that young people can have skills that can make them money. And then just lower the unemployment
situation. You know, that's a very good one, because you also get to be proud of yourself in producing, you know, our future entrepreneurs. Can you just tell us about a memorable story from one of your students? Maybe you know,
there's so
one
many.
of those.
I've taught a lot. I've taught probably over 20 people now.
Okay.
That's a lot. And in the 20 or the plus 20 plus, there's these ones. I'm like, hi, how are you doing this better? It's really nice. And usually it's nice to see. and there's just so many of them. I can't mention each and every one, but there's so many of them. You see them grow, you see them move out of home to stay in their own place because now they have a business. You see them buy cars. And I feel so proud because I know that I empowered that person and it feels really good. Yeah, it does.
And what are some of the key values or principles that you emphasize, when teaching these aspiring bakers? Because you guys can bake, but it's sharing life. It's sharing a skill that they need to carry throughout their life. It's customer service because you're dealing with other people. What are some of those lessons that you teach them apart from the baking?
Baking, making cakes for people means that you always have to interact with people, different kinds of people. So the lessons are that you need to be accommodating to every kind of person. Sometimes the experiences are not pleasant, the clients are not the same. Some people will make you feel a type of way, but you always have to be professional. Always try to give everyone the best experience. Always try to give everyone the best cakes. I always say to my students, once you come to me, you're guaranteed that you will provide a nice cake. It's then the experience that you give the client that's going to make them come back or not. But the cake, you're not 100%.
And Dumie, one thing that's very notable about you is that you have such a huge social media presence when it comes to your businesses. Most of them overing both 6K followers, TikTok, Instagram. You have such a huge following. How do you feel social media for you has worked as a marketing tool to push your business?
Social media is such a great platform. We take it for granted when it starts. I remember how when I got into TikTok, it was just for fun. It really was just for fun. But until recent, when I opened this place and I started marketing there, it really, really changed how the clients we get, the type of people, the reach. Because when you're posting on your WhatsApp, the people that are on your contact. Or by sharing with the friend or the next person, but when the reach is greater now. But it all started on the other one, Instagram. So all the social media platforms, I really, really genuinely feel like they've contributed a great deal to how much we've grown and how many people we are able to service. So I feel like it's a very, very, very important marketing place.
And what are some of the advices that you'd give to someone who's considering turning their side hustle into a full-time business? Because even with you, it was once a part-time thing, but then you could have said, for security, but stuff it, I'm going with this full-time. What advice would you give to that, especially in this economy?
It's a risk, really. It's a risk. So it will take you really convincing yourself to say, I'm taking this risk, come what may. And when you say come what may, that means you put as much effort as you can. Actually, when you take the risk, there's no room for failure. Because then how are you going to go back to the job that you left? So taking the risk and leaving everything and just pushing it allows you to push harder. And then if you push harder, you'll see more return.
And now, as a person who has opened a business to me, we spoke earlier, consumer sciences is very, helpful as a skill here in your business because it talks to what the business is about. But business involves finances, dealing with employees, customer experiences, which is sometimes something that you need to learn. How do you handle this part of the things? Have you had to teach yourself, ma accounting, ma employees, HR? How have you managed to upskill yourself in that sense?
So it has helped me that I have so many friends and people that I've made relationships with that are in business. So every time I'm faced with something that I don't quite understand or I want to learn something, it's easy to just pick up the phone and say, and this person will say, no, don't worry, Dumie, hlanganisa 1 na 2 na 3 kutophuma 4 uyabo. So it has helped me, that has helped me a lot, but I also really take time to teach myself certain things, to go back to read a certain book that was there emvasi ngangayinaki. So sengiyabuyela nyalo ngisayifunze entrepreneurship, khuluma ngabo break even. So now I must go and look at this thing again. You know, you go back to certain books that you really didn't think they would help you. Now you know that you need them for the business to run properly. So that has helped me. But I'm also doing short courses here and there so that I can be able to really run the business as professional as I can.
Okay. And how do you then balance, you know, creativity with the practical aspects of running a successful cafe? Because as you said earlier on, sometimes you want things plated your way, you want things, but I feel the customer is because you know, we all have our own preferred taste, especially when it comes to food. I think we're the biggest critiques. It's a very risky industry to be in, but how do you balance the creativity part and, you know, the practical part of things?
It just has to work, and it also goes back to just getting feedback, because sometimes you think you've done it right, only for a client to say, loku ngaba ukakufaki ngawufake maybe something noma kukhombise ukuthi yathi kube bongakwenda kanjena edume maybe bekungakusebenzela. So the practical part uyibona kahle futhi nasowucalile to service the people ukuthi okay, is it working or not, le phupho lami lelikhulu lekuthi mina ngifuna kuplate kanjena noma ngifuna ukuthi kube kanjena, does it really work for the people that I'm trying to service? So it's the feedback route that will really help you to know it's okay, as much as I'm being creative, am I also being practical? And the practicality, that service.
Yes.
So that
and you know, also noting some very interesting aspects that, you know, you place in your products or your food. You have those little boards that are branded. You know, it's just a reminder of the brand for someone who is, you know, consuming your food. But now, can we talk about your future plans for Miss Cakes Cafe? I don't think you expected the reception that you got, hey? Because, you know, you created the space maybe for like a, you did say a mellow mood, but now it's greater than you, I would say. It's very much greater than you. I think I see this place almost every day, someone apostille, you know. What are your future plans and how do you envision the growth for Miss Cakes Cafe?
The space is becoming extremely small. I can't contain all these people that are showing us love. So I really hope in the future, near future, we will grow into a bigger space. That would make a huge difference so that we can be able to service more people, you know, get more equipment, get more stuff going on for the place, and so that everyone can come and have a greater experience. So we want to grow into bigger spaces, we want to do more things, bake for more people. So that's the plan.
Okay. And just for any parting words, what encouragement or advice would you like to share with the young people of Eswatini? I'm glad that you said you had an experience where you were working with young people, but you are a young person yourself, I would say, and you're moving onwards and upwards. You know, you're creating jobs for people here in Eswatini. What encouragement would you give to the young people who are at home? Some of them are still studying, some of them are about to make their professional choices, and what journey or what route to take when it comes to what they will study in university. What words would you have for those people?
I would say go to school. Go to school, study what you feel works for you, what you feel will work for you. But when you come back and it doesn't work for you, or you don't get the job that you thought you'd get, or you don't grow into what you thought you would grow in, find a skill, acquire a certain skill. It doesn't always have to be what you thought it would be, but just get a skill, do something. Don't sit at home and be like, there's always something you can do. There's so many businesses that you can do. You can call me and come for training for a class. Like there's always something that you can do. So do something. Don't be let's not be a lazy generation. Let's not be a generation that just sits at home drink alcohol, go out and party, and just not have anything going on for ourselves. Let's do something. There's always something to do. We're young, we're vibrant, we have energy.
Yeah.
Let's do something.
I love that. Do anything.
Yeah,
do
something that will make you make money and be okay. Yeah.
I love that very much, Dumie. The important thing is to upskill Babugela Makhaya. You heard it from Dumie Matosela. Thank you so much for taking your time to join us here. You know, we're very inspired by the work that all the entrepreneurs I talk to continue to do. You're definitely contributing greatly to our economy. And thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
That was Dumie Babugela Makhaya. If you want to check her out, please do check out Cakes by Dumie on social media and Miss Cakes Cafe. You will definitely be sabawelling and you'll definitely be coming here to Manzini to enjoy the offerings that she has. But other than that, we are signing out. We are loving you. We are leaving you. From myself, Tabelo Jamini, and the team, it is good night and God bless.